I'm not sure, but it seems that we may be in a little bit of a pickle, Dick.
Aristotle figured out the world was round 2,000 years ago. This is 1492, the year they invented the globe. So this world is round story is 100% bullshit. It's total fiction. Yet how did our grandparents learn this? We learn this? Our grandchildren are probably going to learn this. How come? Because history is pop culture.
This is going to get heavier and darker for a little bit until it gets better. Just bear with me. And, you know, I don't know if you know who this is. Liechtenstein is a big banking empire. And kind of they funded a lot of Adolf Hitler's work. And the crown prince is their king. Now this is connecting a dot that all of you better listen to very carefully. It's the last thing you learn today. And that is that there is an overarching agenda that was hatched in the 50s. Remember that psychological warfare document and its value? That was hatched in between 53 and 56 to create the specter of a threat from outer space that does not exist. Werner von Braun stated on his deathbed, and we have the testimony of his assistant, that and said, they will first have the Cold War, then we decided there would be nations of concern, then global terrorism. We have this testimony from before 9/11. Then that would be followed by threats from outer space. They'll start talking about asteroids and things of this sort, but the ultimate one they're going to play is the alien threat, and it's all a lie, and it's all a hoax. But in order for the lie to work, they have had to create a body of disinformation, false information, and frightening scenarios, and actual events that would be convincing to our policymakers like Reagan, convincing to the average person, and to the UFO public that consumes videos, entertainment consoles, movies, etc. And that has been the 50 to 60-year plan. Don't forget that no less a figure than Douglas MacArthur in his last address to the Congress said World War III will be interplanetary.
The nations of the world will have to unite, or the next war will be an interplanetary war. The nations of the earth must someday make a common front against attack by people from other planets.
The guy wasn't very bright. Think about it. Ships going over the horizon. He got that wrong. And there's people who defend that now. Oh, I gotta mention this one. Now, remember before I was talking about how the curvature can't be seen at the beach now. Everybody gets that. Of course, everybody at first, when they first talked, oh, I can see the curvature. Then when even people on the ball side said, no, you can't see the curve. You know, now they can't see it. But now, the Chicago skyline, are you ready for this, guys? Curve doesn't happen over the water. If it's a lake or something like that, there's no curve. So water, I guess, just gets away from the curve of the earth somehow now. The level of deniability is getting absurd, which means we're getting close to the major breakthrough of people seeing this. Because it's right. With that logic, there's no curve between LA and Honolulu and LA and Japan. There's no curve. So anything over water is just flat. Start working that out and see what kind of earth you have.
When you, okay, say you're looking off in the distance and you see the horizon and you go up, if you were to, I don't know, just go up in an airlift or an airplane or something, if you watch the horizon as you're going up, it will follow you the whole way up. And if the Earth was round, then wouldn't it slope downward?
To it. And I was like everybody else going, really? I mean, come on. We're in the 21st century. This was settled 500 years ago, guys. Ooh, what about this, flat earther? You know, and we think, oh, we've stumped them, which many scholars believe is the first written text of scripture predating the Torah. And you read what Job has to say, you read what Moses has to say, you read what Solomon has to say, what David has to say, and everybody prior to Isaiah, you're not going to get a spinning ball out of it. You're just not. And if you look up the Hebrew word, it's chug, C-H-U-G, I think is the way we pronounce it. It's circle. Well, I mean, this is a circle.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a ball. Now, this is also round, but it's not a ball. We have a round table. Round table discussion. It is circular and it is round, but it is not a ball. Well, Isaiah knows the difference between ball and circle because he uses the word for ball, which is dur. It's a totally different Hebrew word, in Isaiah 22:18.
Of all the maps on this screen, it is the only one that references a group of any kind. And if you keep this page open and navigate over to the Flat Earth section of Wiki, you'll notice towards the bottom of the page a similar map. I've referenced it here, and you can tell quite easily it's identical, but not referenced or linked as the AE model. To make things even more strange, we go back to the USGS model, and you see that it was first proposed 1,000 years ago, and you may think, well, that's a bad link. So you compare it with the person who proposed it, and you get this guy, Al-Biruni. Who was Al-Biruni? Well, he lived around 1,000 years ago and was considered one of the greatest scholars of his era, schooled in multiple sciences. Have you ever heard of him? I hadn't. Maybe it's multiple bad references in Wiki. Well, no, because NASA knows who he is, and named this moon crater after him. So why is the USGS using a version of the world map designed by a 1,000-year-old Persian scientist? Because it's correct. That's why. So to be clear, let's compare them again. The United Nations flag, the USGS official map of the Earth, and the Flat Earth model. All identical, but one isn't recognized and instead ridiculed as an outdated look at the world. And this is one of those political quandaries that the authority gets stuck in. The short version is this. The government is on the same page as the flat Earth, but they can't admit it, even in confidence. We know the Earth isn't flat, they say, but it really is.
Now this guy was not supposed to be a really good guy, but again, opinions are irrelevant at this point when you say this. What I'm trying to show here, folks, is this guy here was a sheik from Saudi Arabia who made an important talk in 1993. He said the Earth is flat. Whoever claims it's round is an atheist deserving of punishment. Well, that's kind of the way that that part of the world kind of sees things, but I wanted to show you this because it kind of gives you the idea of what you've been told. Now, this is called the Flat Earth Bible.
They do not tell the truth. They're liars. And they manipulate our history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. The history books are lying. You need to know that. You must know that.